Okay, let's just make sure the volumes are working. So it's looking good. Okay, let's just make sure the volumes are working. So it's looking. Just getting things sorted out, won't be long. And there's our flight plan. We're going to fly over Canyonlands, down through the Arches National Park, through the beginnings of Lake Powell, and then we're going to turn southeast down towards Monument Valley and go looking at some of the amazing scenery down there. Okay, so we're going to be flying the Kodiak, and you can see it on the ground here at Grand Junction Airport, and you can see some of the amazing scenery already around the area. So let's go and have a look at the weather in the area. So to do that, we're just going to go and open windy.com and we'll see what's going on. So if we go Monument Valley, so we've got a southeasterly wind, but it doesn't look too strong, which is good. Okay, so 11 knots gusting to 15 knots. Okay, so let's go and get inside the aircraft and make sure the axes are set up correctly on the controls. So we have full throttle movement, we have full fuel, propeller pitch movement. If we go and look outside, we have aileron movement, we have elevators, and we have rudder movement. Excellent. Okay, let's get this thing started then. So first thing we need to do, if we can control it, is move the conditioning lever forwards. Okay, get the yoke out of the way just to begin with. And hit it, for Christ's sake, it's 11:30. Yeah, this is going to be my last live stream for a little while, because I'm going to visit my parents down on the coast. So I thought I'd just get this last one in. It's one somebody had requested to see a flight out of Grand Junction, so it made sense to do a flight straight down to Monument Valley. So ignition on, generators on. Overhead we need to go and release the valves for the fuel, and then the master shut off, and then pitot heat on. We can hit the starter for the engine. Yep. Lights on, and we're looking good. So we go and power up the GPS, and it's got our flight plan preloaded, which is great. So it's saying the starter is on, which obviously it is. So we don't need the starter on anymore. And we press B to calibrate the altimeter. It's already calibrated, which is fine. And it's all looking remarkably good. So let's go and have a look at the layout of Grand Junction Airfield. So wind is coming from the southwest, 3 knots at the moment at Grand Junction. So that's not really going to impact our takeoff. So we will turn back on ourselves and go and join the runway. It's a 10,000 foot runway. We're only going to need a couple of thousand foot, if that. So Ian McPherson is saying the Kodiak is the best plane so far in Flight Sim. I have to agree. It's the best all-rounder, certainly. The reason I'm using it today is the visibility is fantastic out of it, more than anything else. So I'm going to come off the parking brake and gently increase the throttle. Okay, straighten our view up. As we're taxiing, I just want to go and check the volume levels in OBS to make sure the volumes coming through on the stream are appropriate. So let's have a quick look. So if I pull this up in front of the simulator, so we have some sound from the simulators coming through, so it's not too loud, which is good, and you can obviously hear me over the top. I'm surprised it's as loud as it is, to be honest. So if we go and go to the volume mixer, yeah, the simulator's not as loud as it could be. I'm going to put that to 100. And then come back in here and turn this down here. That's better. Okay. So we're just pulling onto the runway at Grand Junction, and we're going to get on our way very soon. So we'll just stop here before we pull onto the runway. So this runway, I just want to make sure we've configured the autopilot before we take off. So we're going to go into nav mode. We're going to turn on the yaw damper. We're going to, bearing in mind we're taking off at nearly 5,000 feet altitude, we're going to set our target altitude for 6,000 feet. Okay, and we will do vertical speed, and we'll climb at 1,000 feet to get there, 1,000 feet a minute. So I'm just watching these numbers over here while I'm changing the settings. Yeah, we're going to be in nav mode, so we're going to follow the autopilot route. Oh, sorry, the flight plan that's programmed into the G1000. Okay. So yeah, Lee has just appeared. The weather's better here. So yeah, I don't know if Lee heard that. So this is probably my last flight for a week, because I'm going down to the coast to visit my parents. Although I might be able to sneak in a flight on Sunday, I'm not sure. I'll be there in some shape or form. Okay, so we're flat out down the runway. So we've just increased the pitch as well on the propeller. And we're airborne. So at this point we can hit the autopilot button, and the plane should. Autopilot is engaged. Oh, we haven't changed the CDI. I always forget this with the with this aircraft. In fact, it's going to get it wrong, isn't it? It's going to turn around to go back to KGJT. It's got the wrong initial leg. This will be fascinating actually to see what it does. So I think what we'll have to do is go into the flight plan. Can we go and activate a leg? Yeah, it's flying in circles. Look, it doesn't know what to do, because for whatever reason the simulator has not chosen an active leg. So if we go into menu, what we can do to cheat it is do a direct to, but menu, That is bizarre, look. It hasn't got a clue what to do. Flight plan. Yeah, it's got the wrong leg selected. So can we do it through putting the focus on here and say enter? Direct to... Nope, that's not going to do it either. This is how to break the G1000. The leg has now changed, look. And it's going to turn back to find it. How bizarre is that? So if I increase the range, it's now got the correct first leg lit up. I think that was a bit of a glitch. It may have been I did something wrong, but I'm saying that's a glitch. Okay, so let's pull the throttle back. So I'm thinking we actually need a little bit more height, but we're only 1,000 feet over the ground. So there's Grand Junction Airport. This is quite a nice accident to have happened, because we do get to see Grand Junction Airport as we fly past. And it's going to be amazing weather along the way by the look of it. So the sun's going to go down. Hopefully we'll get to Monument Valley just in time for the sun going down. So my aunt lives at Grand Junction. And I'm not quite sure whereabouts. I think she lives over this side somewhere on the hillside, because she's got photographs and you can see this range here in the photographs looking from the front of her house. So I think she's right up over here somewhere. Okay, so we say goodbye to Grand Junction Airport. It's funny, whenever I see Grand Junction, I always think of the movie War Games. Because Matthew Broderick ended up there, didn't he? And he broke into a telephone box. Used it to make a call. I think it was shortly after he broke out of NORAD. Okay, so there doesn't appear to be a cloud in the sky, which, as Lee has commented in the live chat, saying the weather is better here. We've just completed a group flight earlier this evening into oh no, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Dunedin, I think it is, on the south coast of New Zealand, and the weather was atrocious. We flew with, or I flew with live weather, and one of the other group flew with live weather, and it turned out, we found out afterwards, almost nobody else did. I think nobody else did. There was only two of us. Flying into Dunedin in commercial jets, we were down to less than a mile visibility. It was dangerous, but it was great fun. It was a good challenge. It was kind of frustrating that when we discovered that nobody else had live weather switched on, so they were flying along in these kind of conditions, I imagine. And then also doubly frustrating when you discover they weren't flying the flight plan properly either. And like one of them I saw come in and flew in 500 feet for the last 5 miles and then just dropped it onto the runway. And there's everybody else, or you imagine everybody else is trying to follow the rules, and then you discover that actually nobody is. And there you are, like a fool, trying to follow the instrument flight plan accurately, descending through all of the waypoints at the correct altitudes for the star and all that kind of stuff, and then you discover nobody else really gives a hoot about it, and it's kind of depressing. Anyway, I'm not going to be on too much of a downer because we're going to enjoy this scenery. So we are going to need to climb though, otherwise we're going to be enjoying the scrubland in front of us. So let's go and increase our altitude on the autopilot to 8,000, on the 7,500, that will do. And go to vertical speed, and we will climb at 1,000 feet a minute again. We have to remember, looking at our heights, that the air is already thin when we're on the ground. This is the high desert, as people call it. So it has kind of a stark beauty all of its own, doesn't it? So let's go and have a look at the map and see where we've got to. So we've got this wonderful zigzag we did before the G1000 started behaving itself. And we're flying in towards the waypoint Sinri at Cactus Park. So I wonder, I don't think that it's got cactuses in the foliage in Flight Simulator. At least I don't think it has. We're going to get some wonderful long shadows later. So let's just move the view slightly. So the plane should make a turn sometime soon. If we pull up the VFR flight plan, I think it projects the line on it so we can see where we're going. Yes, it does. Which is perfect. So we are following a number of waypoints. Let's just make this a bit smaller, because we just need it for reference. So we're turning gently to follow the flight plan. So when I programmed it in, I picked out waypoints basically to follow interesting landscape along the way. So we're about to follow the riverbed along this part of the canyon. So this is Week Divide, apparently. Is it still called that further up? Nancy Hanks Gulch, Amethyst Mine Trailhead. We're about to go and follow that along this valley. Keeping an eye on the altitude of these hills around us, because they look remarkably close to our altitude. But I think we'll be okay. We'll just keep an eye on it. If in doubt, I will disengage the autopilot at a moment's notice and save our skin. There we go. What we could do, I guess, is make little nav maps so it's not quite so big. Get rid of some of the instrumentation on it and use it instead of... Oh, it doesn't quite fit. And you can't quite make it narrow enough. Oh, that's a shame. I guess we could do that though, couldn't we? And get rid of this one. We are remarkably close to these hills. Okay, I'm going to take manual control and we're going to fly along the canyon. Sun's quite blinding, isn't it? This has got a glare shield that we can use, which kind of works, but it doesn't stop it bouncing off the metalwork, which is a bit of a shame. Can we move it back up? There we go. So for sightseeing, the outside view is a little bit better, isn't it? You get a much wider field of view. I guess having the map on would be useful though, just to see where we are. And we can obviously double check against the real map here. So we're going past Palisade Ranch. Thimble Rock Point is going to be to our left in a moment, so it's going to be up here. I guess this is this. Oh no, it's further up. So if we go to the right hand side of the valley, can we see Thimble Rock? Or maybe we climb. Not obvious, is it? Need to be careful with this aircraft. If we get below 70 knots, it will stall and it will drop a wing and we will spin and we will die. It's amazing scenery, isn't it? Okay, so we need to just carry on generally in this direction. Try and move this a bit further out of the way, not hindering us too much. We're basically just going to keep following the valley. Put the yoke back on so it doesn't look so strange. And we can get rid of this now because we're inside. We can see the instruments. So the clicking you can hear is just me trimming the aircraft. Is it obligatory to put cost index? From Fernando. Cost index of what? I don't understand the question. Just coming out of the shadow from that canyon. I'm hoping this isn't the end of the canyon and we don't have to climb out of there. I think we can carry on. If not, we're going to have to go full throttle and start climbing in a hurry. The scenery is stunning though, isn't it? We should be fine. So once the sun dips below, we can see what we're doing again. There we go. Quite a bit of traffic on the road. So I think we can just carry on down here, and then the natural canyon will take us out to the right anyway. Or there will be an exit out that way. We'll see where we go. If we go too far away, I will climb out. It's fine. Look, we're coming out into a huge valley. Scenery is stunning, isn't it? So it would appear we have another aircraft with us. Just looking on the map, unless it's above us, of course. Yeah, it's up there. You can see its nav lights. So we'll just concentrate on what we're doing, and we'll let anyone else that joins us do what they're doing. So while we're flying out across here, I'm just going to trim the nose up so I can have a few seconds to go look at the map, see where we're going. So yeah, we probably need to climb out of here because we're going to run out of canyon in a hurry. We could do this dogleg though. So we'll go around to the right and then to the left, and then we have a river to follow. So we'll follow this round. More speed on. Let's follow the river. We're going to run out of river in a hurry. Well, certainly it's going to get too twisty for us to easily follow it. We can rejoin it over here. Okay, so we come out of the shadow of this canyon into the sunshine again in a moment. Here comes the sun. We would cue the Paul McCartney track, but the Beatles track I should say, but then we'll get a copyright strike. Okay, let's look inside. We're still broadly on the flight plan, which is great. Flying the canyons. So I'm keeping speed up because we may need to go and convert our speed into altitude at very short notice. I don't think this is entirely following the Kodiak operating handbook somehow. Yeah, we're running out of canyon in a hurry. So which way do we go here? I'm going to go left. And over the top of that, we will never make that corner. And we're climbing out. I think that's the end of the valley for us. Okay, so let's go and have a quick look at the map and see where we've got to. So we're coming up to top of the world at Moab. So we're going to follow through this river. We'll follow this river down. Or is it a road or a river? It's a road. We'll follow the road if the aircraft doesn't start manoeuvring on its own. So we should see, yes, there is a route down through this valley into the next valley. And we will follow it. Do I have SimBrief? No, I don't have SimBrief. Well, actually, I've got a SimBrief account. And I know how it works, and I can create operational flight plans with it. And I know how the A320 works. If you look in the... I made some playlists up earlier on the channel. I have shown tutorials in the past of how to load SimBrief flight plans into the A320, for example, in Flight Simulator. It's quite cool. But yeah, so the main reason for using SimBrief is to give you an operational flight plan that looks much like a commercial aviation flight plan. Obviously this is VFR, so there's no reason to use SimBrief. So by VFR, if you're new watching this, VFR means visual flight rules. So we're not following a strict flight plan with heights and directions and waypoints and beacons and all the rest of it. And, you know, standard instrument departures and approach routes or corridors or any of the things that you might see on an instrument flight rules flight. The rock structures around here are amazing, aren't they? Okay, so we're coming back out into the sunshine again, so we'll enjoy the scenery. So, should we see what this place is called? So we're coming past Professor Creek, Mary Jane Canyon, over to our left. So that's Professor Creek and Mary Jane Canyon. And ahead of us we're coming towards the Sorrel River Ranch. This is the Sister Superior Group, is what these peaks are called along here. We'll just climb a little bit to make sure we don't have a mishap with the hill here. So just across the way from us we can see the Rocky Rapid Public Boat Ramp. So this is Sorrel Way. That was close. So this is the Sorrel Ranch apparently. Okay, so this is the Colorado River we're now joining. So let's just have a quick look ahead of us and see how far do we follow this. So this would be dangerous then because we don't want to get down into there. We're going to need to start climbing now. So let's do this from inside so we can see the indicated airspeed. We're going for maximum throttle. We're going to fly along the canyon as we climb out because we need to get out of here. Otherwise we're going to be playing silly games with circling inside the canyon walls, which can end very badly. Let's see where we're going. We can almost use this to follow the route, but the trouble is we have to come out of here eventually, I guess. Because we're heading south west now. Let's just increase the range. Can we drag this? No, we can't. It's not a touch screen. So yeah, so that doubles back, look, so that would be no good to us. Just going to squeeze up against the window to get a last look. Just make sure we're not going to hit anything. The rendering of the rock is incredible, isn't it? Okay, so rather than hit these rocks, we're going to turn and take the lower ground. Quick check of the map. Yeah, we can't afford to follow the river really, we need to climb out. So let's get a few more 1,000 feet here. So we're at 4.5, we've got the altitude set on the autopilot already for 7.5. So let's get this back following the plan. So we re-engage the autopilot, we go for vertical speed, and we say take us up at 1,000 feet a minute until we get to 7,500 please. So it's getting us back onto the plan. And we get to sit back and enjoy it now instead of worrying about if we're going to hit anything. So this is going to gently climb a few thousand feet so we get more of an aerial view of the area, which will be good. So you get to see all those, the mist into the distance and the shadows and the sunset before too long. Let's see where we are in the flight as a whole. So we've got quite a long way to go. So it may be dark before we get to Monument Valley maybe. Should be a shame. I might have to rewind time. Unless we straight line it from here. Maybe we do that. So we go direct to Monument Valley Airfield. Or if we did direct to KD42Q. Let's try that. So inside the aircraft, direct to KD was it KD42Q? Yeah, there's only one of them there. Enter. Activate, enter. So rather than following the flight plan, we are turning and going directly to KD42Q. Hopefully we'll get to Monument Valley before the sun completely descends. We've got quite a long way to go though. So we are here. Let's measure the distance. $80, 90 miles away. Yeah, there's no way we're going to do it. We're only doing 155 knots. Even if I blow the engine to pieces, it's not going to happen. Because the sun is pretty low in the sky already. The simulator is so good at that, isn't it? So while it's flying along, I'm going to go make a coffee, and if we need to rewind time, we will, and we'll pull the sun back up in the sky a little. I'm going to go make a coffee and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I have coffee. Right, shall we see where we are? So we've departed from the original flight plan. We're racing across the landscape, which will take us right the way across all these canyons to get to Monument Valley. So along the way, let's go and move our viewpoint inside the aircraft. There we go. I presume this is the best side to watch from. Is it? Maybe it's that side. Watch the sun going down. While the aircraft is busy flying along, let's just have a little look. So we've got a little while. If we were to remove this and add a position to the flight plan there, and then view the flight plan, get rid of Anium up to Bullfrog Basin, and if we put in another one here, add that to the flight plan, and then remove Monument Valley Airport. The reason I'm doing this is so we can then pull up an altitude plot of 7,500 feet is the height we're flying at. It does want an end point as destination. There we go. So give it a few moments. Yeah, this was my worry about leaving it on autopilot. We're going to hit the ground. The ground is getting higher. You can see it happening. So we need to go for about 9,000 feet at least. We'll go for 10. Or 9,500 should do it. Vertical speed. We're not in a hurry to get there, so we'll go at 500 feet a minute, so our speed won't be diminished too much. And in the meantime, let's go watch the sun. And where we're going. Not that I'm becoming paranoid or anything. But we are getting lower. Just coming up through 8,000 feet. Yeah, maybe we will go for 1,000 feet a minute. Because the ground is getting closer. With a bit of luck, we are going to get to Monument Valley before the sun goes down. Hopefully. We've made a lot of progress. in quite a short amount of time. So how do we look? So yeah, at the final stretch then we can descend back down, but we need to fly along at 9,500 feet for a few miles just to clear this ridge. See it coming. So let's just keep an eye on the airspeed. We need to really push it, so I'm going to force it to maximum revs. And we're looking good. So this trick the little nav map can do is, as long as you have a start and an end of your flight plan, it can project the height of the ground underneath your flight plan. Yeah, so at the moment we're heading for 9,500 foot, so we can change that on here so you can see that that's good enough to clear these peaks, and you can see exactly where they are by moving the mouse along within the software, which is really great. So we've got about does it give us a position here or a distance? Yes, it does. Look, so on the left hand side there, so 111 through to 130 miles, so we got 20 miles worth of high terrain where it's going to look like we're very close to it, but we're at the correct altitude to miss it, which is good. Should we get the money shot of the aeroplane from the side with the sun in the background? There we go. So we really are trusting in little nav map at this point to not smash us into the ground. But we're trusting in our charts, let's put it that way. Really is being thrown around by the turbulence, isn't it, over these canyons. Not that I don't trust Little Nav Map, but look at this. There could be a chance that we're going to fly right through the middle of that. Okay. That's why I'm so paranoid and keep looking where we're going. So I think after this ridge we can start descending. So let's just see where we are aiming. We really are. We're aiming for the gap in between those two hills. This is why it was so dangerous, especially knowing that the Kodiak doesn't follow a lateral course very accurately. It sways from side to side. You can see it doing it. It could be enough to make us hit the wall of that ridge. Okay, so can we see? No, we can't see high enough yet to see over that ridge. So we're going to descend down in a moment. Down towards the floor. Yeah, we are. Look, we're not going to head for the middle bit. Going to miss to one side, if anything. Oh, maybe we are high enough. Yeah, just about. Okay, so we can start thinking about descending now. Down to about 7,000 feet. So altitude comes back down to 7,000. We'll do it at a vertical speed of 1,000 feet per minute. You can see the indicated airspeed is climbing. We may have to retard the throttle to stop ourselves from shaking the aircraft to pieces. I think we're going to get there in time to see Monument Valley while the sun is still up. So we're going to start looking out for the telltale peaks soon. They should be just to the right of our path. I'm not quite sure how far out it will draw them from. Ideally we want to come in very low over the ground. It's interestingly over here we can see there's a river, or certainly the bed of a long extinct river in the canyon. So we're looking out over the front to see if we can see any sign yet of the features, the very distinctive features of Monument Valley, because we're getting there on the map. It's not far away now. How high is the sun? Oh, it's getting perilously low. This is going to be a race against time to see if we can get there without meddling with time. Let's measure the distance on the map. We are about, I think these are the features that we're looking for. 30 miles to go. It's going to be touch and go whether we get there before the sun has gone. We're still absolutely flat out on the throttle. Maximum pitch as well on the propeller. Just out of interest, if I pull the pitch back, do I get a faster blade speed and therefore an increase in airspeed? Possibly. Is that creeping up in airspeed? 163. Yeah, that's working. So there's a lesson for you in physics. By decreasing the pitch on the propeller, it increased the blade speed, which is increasing the airspeed. So rather than going for maximum pitch, I've gone for a little less than maximum pitch, which makes a lot of sense. If you look in any of the guidebooks of the turboprop aircraft, the cruise pitch level is only ever usually 75 to 80% of maximum. So I'm looking out now to see the rock formations. I think we can see them coming over here. The famous butte, isn't it, they call them? The buttes of Monument Valley. So I'm just going to go and get rid of the spammer that's appeared in the live chat, and they are hidden from the channel permanently, so they say goodbye. So the river we're just about to pass over, or the valley we're about to pass over, is just here. And this follows down. It's John's Canyon Spring, apparently. So we should be aiming about 10 degrees to our right now. So let's go and program that in. So we center the heading bug on our actual direction of travel. We press the heading mode on the autopilot, and now we turn a few degrees to our right. And we are looking for these, I think. I think we're heading in exactly the right direction. The question is if we can get there before it gets dark. Now, how far will that take us out of our way? It won't. Right, we're going to have some fun on the way. We're going to come down this valley at speed. Okay. You can hear flutter, that's because we are overspeeding. So I'm cutting the engine back. So it looks like the sun is dipping into the horizon. It's really not, there are hills there. So we're not overspeeding anymore, so we go flat out again, full throttle. So we should be able to come out of the end of here and be almost on top of the Monument Valley buttes, as they call them. The flat top remains that would have been in the middle of I guess was this glaciers around here, or is this just the ocean and it's washed it away? Because this isn't seabed, is it? Most of the seabed, this was all inland jungle and stuff in Jurassic and Triassic times, I guess. Because most of what is known, well, most of Britain is essentially the seabed. So it would be interesting to look at a projection of which parts of America were inland and which were ocean, based on the geology. Although you would imagine with lots of sedimentary rock. Here we go. There's the famous outcrops. Monument Valley. And we're getting them at sunset. Unfortunately, I think the sun is still just there. So let's climb a little. We just lost the sun. It's setting as we speak. Let's go and wind it back, otherwise this is kind of ruins it, doesn't it? There we go. We just get a few more minutes of sun, please. Perfect. Ian McPherson is asking in the live chat, will I be looking to get X-Plane 12? No, is the answer. Yes, it has. X-Plane has always had the best flight model, other than DCS. But that's kind of it's a one-trick pony. The team that build it don't have the resources to put photographic scenery in, and they're going to make all sorts of excuses about that. They've added a few extra gimmicks to the graphics model to do puddles and things like that, reflections, so they've added some extra shaders basically, and I struggle to see how they're going to compete. I recently installed X-Plane 11 to go back and have another look at it, because I haven't used it for about a year, and patched it all up to the latest level, put the Vulkan drivers in with an NVIDIA 3080 graphics card, and it was struggling at 4K to get to 25 frames a second. Whereas Flight Simulator running ultra levels of detail is easily... Whoops! There's a problem with Flight Sim. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that. The buildings, or sorry, the structures aren't always don't always have very good crash detection. So there are like bounding boxes around them that you can't see, and I just touched one. So yeah, talking about X-Plane again. Oh, Dankon is asking where we are. This is Monument Valley in the US. Yeah, so talking about X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12, sorry. I'm not going to go to X-Plane 12, I'm not going to bother. Because I can't see that it has enough benefit. The sun's about to go down again, isn't it? So we'll just circle this last monument, and then we'll go and find Monument Valley Airport and go and land. And the sun's just going. Any moment you can see it vanishing on this rock face. It's dipping and dipping and dipping. We're going to see it happen. It's not going to be lighting up for very long, is it? You can actually see the line moving, look. That's really cool. And our shadow. So you can see the line of darkness sweeping across everything. Okay, so we can see Monument Valley airstrip over here. So I'm going to make my way over to it and go and land. It's a little bit problematic based on the wind. I don't think there is any wind though. Oh, there's 14 knots. Oh dear. Meaning we would need to land. We're going to have to overfly. We're going to have to land from this side of the airfield. Is there a route in? Can we fly through a canyon or something, or just we have to do a very tight turn? So what we're looking at here is there a way through, or an easy way to turn tight onto the runway? There really isn't. I guess you could come down here and land, or I think it's just going to be a very, very tight turn. Kind of fly a wall of death around these outcrops. It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because we can see where we need to be. Because there's the runway. Unless we come in from this side. We're coming from the desert side. Okay. So let's get the flaps down. So we're really going to be pushing the short field capabilities of the Kodiak with this one. So we're going to come in tight along the hillside. See the runway. So Leon Crookshank is saying, liking these streams, mate, keep them up. I'll try my best. I'm not going to be online for the next week, so this might be the last live stream for the next week, but we'll see with that one. I'm going to visit family for the week, so I might go somewhat dark on the internet for a while. But it'll give me some time to think about, you know, make some plans for flights to record, if anything. Let's get the flaps pulled up and we'll go and park. That's it. So to cut the engine, we can pull the mixture back, turn the ignition off, if I can put the mouse on it. There we go. And turn everything back off, turn that warning off. Master fuel cut off. And then go and turn off the avionics and the master power, and with cold and dark we can, people moan at me about doing this, but you can do this on the Kodiak. You can open the doors, so why not? Put the yoke back on. So yeah, that was Monument Valley. So we've landed at Monument Valley Airfield. We flew around in the Kodiak. We flew down from Grand Junction. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and it's going to be the last time I'm online for the next week, I guess. So I'll see you all soon. Please subscribe, like, click the bell icon, all the other things, and then you'll be notified when I am back and when I'm back flying again. And if you have ideas, do go and I think there's a community tab in Discord, or just comment on the videos. So go comment on some of my videos with any ideas of flights. You can also get hold of me, jonathan.beckett@gmail.com. So feel free to email me with any ideas, or if you want to go and fly together with a group, virtualflight.online. If you go to the website virtualflight.online, you'll find a link to the Discord server where a whole group of us fly regularly together. So it's good fun. I'll see you all again soon.